Good day, everyone. My name is WEMBERLY Aguilion. I am fourth-year student by taking of Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management at St. Anthony College of Calapan. So the researcher decided to conduct a research about travel restriction and safety protocols because the researcher wants everyone to know how important it is. So the title of the research is The Impact of Travel Restriction and Safety Protocols of Tourism in Calapan City. So we choose travel restriction and safety protocols as a topic of the research because they are the critical for our safety and also because they were the first measure taken by our country and provincial sector to limit the spread of the diseases and also understand more about how Calapan City's tourism industry will adapt to this new normal. So next is introduction. The COVID-19 pandemic is currently affecting the global tourism sector. Tourists' view of travel risk and management are critical in determining their vacation locations, given the prolonged uncertainties surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourists' view of travel risk and management might influence their psychological preparation for destination travel. So, COVID-19 pandemic is one of the most problem of our country nowadays. United Nations, World Tourism Organization, and other organizations here in the Philippines, they implemented a rule that if you want to go somewhere, like business trip, vacation, competition, convention meetings, and other events, especially in transportation, when you board a ship or an airplane, you must first complete your travel requirements. For example, your SPAS accounts, Stay Safe accounts, and also vaccination card, trace up, and also your negative swab result. So next is objectives of the study. The purpose of this study is to ascertain how the purpose of travel restriction and safety protocols prior, during the pandemic. Additionally, it seeks to ascertain changes in relation to the purpose of travel. Finally, it aims to forecast the travel frequency associated with a specific socio-demographic characteristic. The objectives of the study is to aim the goal of the impact of travel restriction and safety protocols during travel in Calapan City. The tourism industry in Calapan City identified the tourist problems during the crisis, and also they develop a plan on how to solve so many problems since the pandemic came. And this study focused on different sectors that have contribute to the growth of tourism industry, such as hospitality management, air travel, food and beverages, transportation, and communication. And also they include to develop the protection of tourism industry employees and the providing financial assistance because every employees in tourism industry have their own basic needs. Next is review of related literature. This section discusses the theoretical and empirical evidence about the effect of travel restriction and, security protocols on tourism industry. Tourism has been highlighted as a critical economic sector that has experienced additional problems due to COVID-19. The paper claims that tourism is vital to economic progress and demonstrates how the COVID-19 epidemic affected the tourist industry. Eventually, posing threats to economic growth, the following sections develop the central argument of the present literature review. Next is methods and materials. So research design. To assess tourist perceptions of journeys for tourist purposes amid a health crisis, a questionnaire was sent to the population to ascertain the research findings. The selected individuals were sampled using a probabilistic method, it was distributed via different online platforms. This model requires that accessible and available cases be included in the sample. This method of sampling is frequently used in social research and is covered in this paper. So research design is based on the snowball approach, which is appropriate for this research. The snowball method was chosen because it allows for the growth of the research sample to a size deemed sufficient by the researcher. This strategy suited the study's requirements, as many sections of the country were under lockdown and communication between people was frequently limited to phone and online. The snowball approach utilizes initial units to generate new units, and the action is akin to rolling a snowball, which has the same effect of increasing the sample size. When we say snowball method, it means where research participants recruit other participants for a test or a study. Next is the participants. The original sample of respondents was drawn from various parts of the city and met the criteria for inclusion in the active population. The questionnaire is comprised of 17 questions and was created using Google Forms. It was disseminated via a variety of online sites. For in-depth interviews, we normally recommend a panel size of 30 respondents from the composition of students, professionals, and entrepreneurs. If the study comprises similar parts of the community. Next is instrument. Data collection instruments refer to devices by using Google Forms to collect data such as questionnaires, tests, structured interview schedules, and checklists. So Pollitt and Hangler 1997 466 defined a questionnaire as a method of gathering information from respondents about attitudes, their knowledge, beliefs, and feelings. The questionnaire was designed to gather information about the impact of travel limitations and safety standards on the Calapan City tourism business. So next is procedure. The survey questionnaire was designed to gather respondents' perception of the impact of travel restriction and safety standards on the Calapan City tourism business. The survey and the interview was happened in the month of August and September 2021. The survey is answered through Google Forms, sent in different social media platforms, and interviews was made possible by the use of chat and emails. The respondents was randomly chosen in line with the research topic. Analysis. Given the rapid change in restrictions imposed by the health crisis from day to day, we use descriptive statistical analysis to summarize the data from the population responding to the questionnaire. Respondents. Perception of the impact of travel restriction and safety protocols on the tourism industry in Calapan City. And to describe the basic characteristic of the data, obtain expressed numerically in a percentage. This method was advantageous for expressing categorical data by condensing a large amount of data into a more concise output. Next is ethical considerations. The primary ethical concern is that the first subject may be disclosing information about other persons that they would like remain private. In addition, it is particularly problematic when the recommending individual is a member of the community's authority. So ethical considerations is participants were fully informed regarding the objective of the study, while they were reassured that their answers were treated as confidential and used only for academic purposes and only for the purpose of the particular research. Except from the above, participants were not harmed or abused both physically and psychologically during the conduction of the research. In contrast, the researcher attempted to create and maintain a climate of comfort. Result and discussion. The subject of the study was impact of travel restriction and safety protocols on tourism industry in Calapan City. The research had 30 respondents from Calapan City among the active population aged between 18 to 65 years old. So, section 1. According according to figure 1, 60% of 18 respondents are male, 40% or 12 respondents are female. In figure number 2, the respondents' age range is depicted. Respondents age 18 to 25 account for 43.33% of all respondents, while respondents age 25 to 34 account for 30% of the total, and 16.66% are between the age of 35 and 44 only. Next is table number 1. Section 3, supplementary questions. In table number 1, the majority of respondents, 33.33%, oppose the full capacity of passengers on public transit. Only 16.66% of respondents strongly believe that public transportation should operate at full capacity. Question number 2, ask respondents if they believe commuting by public transit is safe based on the authority safety protocols, and 30% agreed, while 13.33 strongly disagreed in response to question number 3. 26.66% of respondents believe that venturing outside will not expose them to the virus. In addition, 80.75% disagree. Table number 2. Table number 2, in question number 4. In question number 4, the respondent is almost evenly split between agreeing and disagreeing that the local government entity is properly managing travel restriction and safety protocols, while question number 5 demonstrates that the public health surveillance system is capable of detecting cases and contacts and identifying and resurgence of cases, particularly among travelers, with 50% strongly agreeing, while question number 6 indicates that the health system is incapable of dealing with the COVID-19 resurgence. 66.66% of respondents agreed that travel restriction and safety standards should be updated in accordance with the province of city's COVID situations. Figure number 9. When you see it, they illustrate the respondents' line of business. We have one respondents in the tourist attraction industry and two in the hotel, resort, and other industries, although the overwhelming majority of our responders work in food industry. Next is conclusion. The findings of this study provide useful information to policymakers in developing countries with similar characteristics and attributes to Calapan City. The findings indicate that a sizable proportion of the population classified as low-income or blue-collar workers has a strong desire for travel or economic reasons. Additionally, prolonged home isolation encouraged people to travel more once restrictions were lifted, resulting in increased travel frequency for leisure or recreation. So, conclusion, thus it is critical for the government on enact stricter health protocol enforcement in transportation in order to minimize viral transmission and avoid reverting to a higher community quarantine classification. This can be accomplished by increasing the penalty for violators of improper or non-use of face masks for commuters, as well as non-compliance with the 50% maximum passenger capacity requirement for public transportation operators. Additionally, more enforcers should be visible during curfew hours in dense area with high foot traffic. A similar approach can be taken with respect to violating curfew hours for non-essential travel. So next is the last part is recommendation. Despite its strength, this study has several limitations, including a large sample size and an evolving trend sample of tourists visiting the destination for leisure, holiday or shopping, education, conference, healthcare, or business, among others. This study, which surveyed participants using self-administered questionnaire report measures that may introduce bias, make the assumption that participants may be influenced by social desirability. So recommendation, as a result, future research should aim to incorporate additional measures, such as focus group opinions, to enable more in-depth analysis because this study used a quantitative method that is inflexible to participants. Subjective views on the effect of travel restriction and safety protocols, a qualitative assessment using in-depth interviews is suggested for future researchers. The data was collected via an online platform, which is much more convenient for younger generations that in 29 is for is for older generations, resulting in a large number of younger participants. So that's all for today. Thank you.